Okay, dear students, dear viewers, you are most welcome to this subject or course unit that we call Educational Technology. This course can be designed for diploma students doing primary education, but it can also be very relevant for students doing Bachelor of Arts with Education, students doing a Bachelor of Science with Education, or students doing a Bachelor of Education. So the course unit is called Educational Technology. And the course facilitator is Dr. Mark Kahwa. I'm a senior lecturer at the Mountains of the Moon University in the Faculty of Education. So you are welcome to this course unit, and enjoy the listening, enjoy the viewing. We have objectives to be achieved at the end of this course unit. One is at the end of the course unit, students should be able to define educational technology and describe its importance in education. So students should be able to understand this concept we call educational technology, and then be able to appreciate its relevance in the field of education. Then two, they should be able to plan, design, and use teaching materials. As students of educational technology, they should be able to plan, but not only stop at planning, but be able to design and then use the locally available materials in the process of learning. Then objective 3, they should be able to evaluate, they should be able to assess, to analyze, investigate the relevancy and the characteristics of good teaching and educational broadcasting in the teaching and learning process. Then number 4, at the end of this course unit, students should be able to analyze, interpret, synthesize, apply, and communicate information on a variety of computer technologies. Here we mean that after being taken through this course unit, the students should be able to use different digital tools in the process of preparing content, in the process of revising, and so on and so forth. So they should be able to use that wide range of the different digital tools. But also, they should be able to utilize key information technologies. Specifically, the learners will gain an appreciation of and use of basic computer skills required for teaching employment. So here we talk of the computer skills, that in this process, learners must have skills of employing or deploying the different digital tools in the process of learning. For example, they should be able to use laptop computers in the process of learning. They should be able to use, for example, desktop computers. They should be able to use projectors. For example, in this presentation, as you can see, I'm using a projector. So they should be able to use those different gadgets, digital tools, in the process of learning. So those are the objectives that are supposed to guide this course unit. And at the end of it all, we expect learners really to be able to have a grasp, have a clear understanding of how to use these digital tools in the process of learning. Now, we begin with a reflection. You will agree with me that real technologies are taking over the globe. And the only institution that will survive, it is that institution that will embrace the use of technologies. And now we are beginning with this quote, and I want you, dear viewers, dear students, to deeply reflect on this quote. That technology will not replace teachers. However, teachers who use technology will replace those who don't. I don't know if you reflect on that. Does it make sense to you? Of course, behind the technology, there is always a human being. And that is why we're saying that the technology might not replace teachers, but teachers who use the technology will replace those who don't. Now, in this digital era, any institution beginning with pre-primary, come to primary, come to secondary, go to high institutions of learning, there is no institution that has not embraced the technology. If there is such an institution that is taking baby steps as regards the integration of ICTs in the process of teaching and learning, that particular institution will be left behind. That particular institution will not benefit the fruits of technology. So this is something for you to reflect on, because if you deeply reflect on it, you'll find that it makes sense. Because nowadays, almost everything is being done with the use of computer. When it comes to preparation of content, when it comes to delivery of content, when it comes to the assessment of content, you find that technologies are a central part in whatever a teacher does, in whatever a learner does. So that one is very, very important. Now, there is this activity, and I'm saying that in reference to your institution. So you reflect on your institution, where you are studying from, where you are working. Now, what do you think are the likely obstacles to the use of computers in the teaching and learning process? Because the first thing is for you to understand and appreciate the impeding obstacle, the impeding factors, or what we call the obstacles, as regards the use of teaching and learning. Because the moment you understand those obstacles, the moment you understand those impeding factors, then it will be easy for you to find a solution. So as you reflect on your institution, what do you think are the most likely obstacles that will impede the effective use of computers and or effective use of technology? Of course, as regards the so many ICTs. So what are those obstacles? So please, you can jot them down. You could even work in a group of maybe 2 or 3 students or 5 students, and then, but each one of you reflecting on the institution, because some of the factors could be similar, they could cut across different institutions. So be able to share. So we are saying the starting point is for you to understand the obstacles so that you can find solutions. As we always say, if you don't know the problem, then you can never have solutions for that problem. So that is the starting point. Now, how important are computers in teaching and learning process? Now, we want to begin with the appreciation of these computers in the teaching and learning process. Do you think that computers are relevant in the teaching and learning process? And especially when we reflect on this digital era currently, You think computers are important? Of course, research has shown that when the technology is used in the process of teaching and learning, all the three domains of the objectives are attained at once, are easily attained. Where we have the cognitive, where you have the affective, and also where you have the psychomotor. So those ones are easily attained with the use of these digital tools, the innovative instructional strategy. Unlike when you use the traditional, the conventional means of teaching, the face-to-face means of teaching. So we are beginning with the raising motivation for learners. When computers are used, when ICTs are used, when technology is used in the process of teaching and learning, there is raising motivation for the learners, raising their interest in the learning. Because if a teacher is, for example, able to project something, that means as the teacher is talking, the learners are also viewing. As the learners view, that in itself raises their interest in the lesson, raises their motivation, and it keeps them alert and interested throughout the lesson. Then two, we are saying that computers provide unique instructional capabilities. Unique in the sense that the learner is able to use almost all their five senses. Because this in itself also, when technologies are used, then the learners are not just only passive spectators, but the learners are actively engaged. The learners can, for example, if they are using a smartphone, or they are using a computer, or they are using an iPad, they are using a tablet, they are able to manipulate. It supports new instructional approaches because the only traditional instructional strategy we are accustomed to is the face-to-face one, where you find that teaching is only confined to the four walls of the classroom. But with the use of instructional strategies, that means we are even able to go beyond the four walls of the classroom. We are saying that it increases the teacher productivity. Teacher productivity in the sense that the teacher is able to have, wider content coverage within a very short time, because if you are just projecting, it becomes very faster for you to, if you're using computers, it becomes faster to deliver the content. Unlike in the past, when you're using the old methods of delivery, maybe you're just dictating notes, you are reading for the students, and so on and so forth. So it increases teacher productivity. Provide the common experience upon which other learning can be developed, and it makes work easy and faster. Makes work easy and faster, not only for the teacher, but even for the learners. The learners are able to easily grasp content that is being delivered. But also, we are saying that computers or technology provides a direct or first-hand experience with the realities of social and physical environment. They promote meaningful communication. The teacher is able, using these different digital tools, is able to communicate and also give very quick feedback to the learners. Encourage active participation, where if the learners are allowed to manipulate materials, then the learners are heavily engaged. They are actively participating in the learning process, and that in a way raises or causes what we call active participation in the learning. Help develop interest in other areas of learning. It acts as a suitable substitute for a teacher. For example, if you use an audio, you use a video, lecture. So even in the absence of the teacher, learners could listen to an audio, or learners can view a video. So somehow it substitutes a teacher. Helps in the practice of specific skills. A student can use a computer to practice reading, to practice writing, instant feedback to the learners, and then store different instructional materials for future use. So with these technologies, you can store instructional materials for future use. And quite a lot of content can be stored. For example, you can have quite a lot of content that can be stored, for example, in soft copy that can be stored on a computer. So thank you so much, students. Thank you so much, viewers, for your active participation in this presentation and for your listening. We now take a break. When we return, we shall pick on from here.